Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Computer America Show. Sorry about that. I gotta fix that. Everyone, welcome into the program. I hope that you're doing well today and you are ready for, a special Black Friday show. Everyone, we told you last week, we may or may not be able to get here, but hey, we did, and I'm very happy that we are. So, everyone, welcome into the program. I hope that you're doing well and you are ready for today's show. So, first things first, computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, including past shows, future shows, show notes, articles, anything and everything will always be at computeramerica.com. So if you want to find out more, you can go there. And of course, the show notes, super important for today because Ralph puts a lot of work into, putting the show notes together. And if you'd like to, by the time you are hearing this, follow along, hey, we encourage you to come out to the site, get the show notes, and you can click through, find the articles, and all that good stuff. Also in the show notes will be, just about anything and everything that we talk about. So if you're driving, if you're busy, if you are waiting in line and cannot, feasibly, get to the website and follow through, then hey, it will always be up on our site. So with that being said, happy Black Friday. Hopefully everyone out there had a great Thanksgiving and you are ready for today's program. So let's go ahead and bring Ralph on. He is our science and tech trends correspondent. If you haven't heard, a segment from him before, well, you're in luck because these are always really fun. They're a slew of great stories that, of course, as you can imagine, are key trends and, different stories from all realms that science and technology touch. It's pretty broad, and hey, odds are you probably haven't heard of them. So yeah, everyone, let's go ahead and get into it. And Ralph, welcome back onto the program. How you been?
I'm doing great, and here we are on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. And before I give you the spiel for new listeners about what we do every Friday, I just want to mention what part of our goal today is to move your body's energy from digestion following yesterday's feast up to your brain. So that's part of our goal. And what Ben and I do each Friday is highlight 4 recent articles that show us key trends and developments in everything: artificial intelligence, robotics, medical technology, sustainable energy technology, transportation advances, agricultural technology, space research, physics. Wow, you name it. It's all across the board. And most important of all, what we're going to do is give you an oasis, if I can say that, of positive news thanks to the world of science and technology. And before we jump into the stories, I just thought it would be fun. I thought to myself this morning, Black Friday. All my life I've heard this Black Friday. Why black? What's that all about? Turns out the term Black Friday originated in Philadelphia during the early 1960s. It was used by police officers to describe the chaotic traffic and massive crowds of shoppers that descended on the city the day after Thanksgiving. Now, as the term spread across the country, it eventually took on a more positive connotation, referring to retailers going into the black or becoming profitable due to a surge in sales at the holiday period. Pretty cool, huh?
I had no idea, and of course,
me too.
I'm glad that it's also a little bit American. I guess it's not like a tradition carried over from Europe or something. It's uniquely American in its naming, and it's just kind of, I know it's kind of consumerism, but still it's an American consumerism holiday. So. And let's face it, it's as far as tech goes, and we are a tech show, not everything is going to be on sale. Always be sure to check your sites. There are many sites out there that track pricing history and things like that. Ladies and gentlemen, there are good deals to be had. If you're waiting to shop for things and buy for things, a lot of people do wait until Black Friday, and there's a good reason for that. Stuff is on sale. So everyone, I hope that you get your, whatever it is that you're looking for. I hope that you get a good price on it because the deals are out there. So So there you go. And just as another side, because yesterday was Ralph, I don't know in your house if it's a tradition, but of course there was the Macy's Day Parade, or Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, but also after that the dog show, and I had no idea who the dog show winner was. A pug. Who knew that? It was the first time in 20 years that a pug had won the dog show. So congratulations to who was that? Vito the pug. So looks good. Okay, there you go. So there you go. Everyone, that's kind of all the off-topic stuff. It's the holidays. It's going to be a fun show. Ralph, why don't we go ahead and get started with story number 1? And this has to do with our good, tried and true, never leaving us, never know how microplastics.
Oh gosh, yes. And by the way, today's show has several stories, Ben, that are extraordinarily geeky. Truth in lending statement up front. They're way beyond my brain pay grade, as you like to say. And so just a little bit of warning there, but you can get into the show notes. You can get the links. You can dive into this as deep as you want. We're just going to give you the highlights, but I'm not going to pretend to fully understand some of the stuff that's going to follow. So with that said, our first story comes from spacedaily.com and some other outlets as well. But I love the headline here. Bye-bye microplastics. New plastic is ocean degradable and recyclable. So when I saw that headline, I said, I've got to learn more. And in the show notes, I give you some other cross references as well. And that's part of what I do with the show notes. I augment these articles with additional references. So let's get into the highlights here. Researchers at the Riken, that's R-I-K-E-N, Riken Center for Emergent Matter Science in Japan have introduced a novel plastic that offers durability and biodegradability while addressing a pressing global concern, microplastic pollution in oceans. Well, of course, we know that that's a terrible problem. Unlike conventional materials, this innovative new plastic dissolves in seawater. Wow, providing a sustainable solution for reducing microplastics in marine ecosystems, soils, and food chains. Their findings were published on November the 22nd in the publication Science. So this is real fresh new information. Traditional plastics have long been recognized as major environmental threat due to their non-biodegradability and accumulation in ecosystems. Well, we're all very aware.
Yep.
You've seen, Ben, I'm sure you've seen these photographs, these horrible photographs of like islands of plastic floating in the ocean as big as the state of Texas. I mean, just horrifying, right?
It's hard to balance, and this is over decades of learning. It's hard to balance plastic being useful as like a packaging, covering, storage kind of solution.
Unbelievable,
where
yeah.
it lasts forever and it's very durable and it sticks around. And then of course what happens after, and the end life of these plastics. Didn't really think about that. So what do we do now? And here we are.
Yeah, it's really an incredible problem. But going on with a positive story here, although some biodegradable options such as PLA, which is polylactic acid plastic, exist, their resistance to seawater degradation allows microplastic formation, harming marine life and infiltrating human food systems. Now, again, I augment these stories, and again, we're just giving you the highlights of these stories, but I do inject little things like reminders. What is polylactic acid plastic? And it's a type of biodegradable and bioactive thermoplastic made from renewable sources like cornstarch and sugarcane. So you can learn more in the show notes. I have additional notes as well. But going on, the Riken team tackled this issue by engineering, and here's where things start getting very geeky. I'm going to warn you, we're going to geek out here. By engineering supramolecular plastics, polymers bound by reversible interactions. And then in the show notes, I have an injection here that says, what are molecular plastics? Well, supramolecular plastics are a type of polymer with structures held together by reversible interactions such as hydrogen bonding, metal coordination, or ionic interactions. These plastics are designed to be environmentally friendly and sustainable. And in the show notes, I have more information on supramolecular plastics if you want to geek out, okay? But we do need to move on because this gets so mind-bendingly geeky. The new Riken Center experimental plastics structure is created by combining two ionic monomers, and I apologize for this geek out, forming robust salt bridges that provide strength and flexibility. One of the monomers, sodium hexametaphosphate, is a food additive, while the other is guanidinium, boy, this is a tongue tire, ion-based compound. Both can be metabolized by bacteria, ensuring environmental biodegradable. Again, in the show notes, you can geek out on what the heck are ionic monomers. I have information about that. It's very techy. But I tell you, Ben, the bottom line here is we're talking about the development of a plastic that can dissolve in salt water. Before we finish the story, I just have to stop and say that's the thing I want everyone to understand why this is such an important potential breakthrough.
Yep. Yep. And then, yeah. I was going to say, there's a comment here from the researcher, but being able to just, and for those who are watching the video portion,
right.
You can see it up here. Here's the science of it all, if you're,
Yes.
really chemistry inclined, but also this picture here where it shows, kind of a sample of the plastic in salt water, and you can clearly see kind of like the separation of the plastics at the bottom with the salt water up top. So very cool.
Yeah, and again, it's very geeky stuff, folks. And the research team leader, a fellow named Takahashi Arima, God, I hope I'm saying that right. Last name is Arima.
Sounds right to me.
Well, we'll go with it. And he said, while the reversible nature of the bonds in supramolecular plastics have been thought to make them weak and unstable, our new materials are just the opposite. So people have been aware of supramolecular plastics before, but what these folks in Japan have done is they've created it to be stable and strong, which is a key breakthrough. And the researchers achieved stability through selectively irreversible crosslinks in salt bridges. Oh, Ralph, come on. Now what? You give me monomers, now you're telling me about salt bridges? Look, folks, this is geeky. These salt bridges, which are activated only in the presence of seawater electrolytes. And in the show notes, once again, I have more information on seawater electrolytes. But the big takeaway, as we just said a second ago, is the development of a plastic that can dissolve in seawater. That's the thing I want you to go take away from this and feel encouraged. As Ben and I like to say every Friday, we're going to leave you feeling optimistic.
Absolutely. Maybe not as optimistic as MSN would, kind of have you believe with that headline of microplastic problems or crisis solved ?
That's a little aggressive.
Yeah, maybe if we took every piece of plastic out of circulation and replaced it with this stuff, maybe I have a thing. But no, as always, one part of the puzzle. But hey,
yes.
Finding a cheap, good, durable, recyclable, plastic. Hey, that's something that I think every industry, everyone is always, trying to get there. There has to be that balance of like, Ralph, like what's between like a piece of plastic from the 1950s that'll never dissolve ever again in its life, and what's the the other end of the spectrum, I guess, is like a cardboard straw that doesn't even survive the use case that it's designed for. There has to be somewhere in the middle, and hopefully something much more sustainable. So we'll get there, but still, very cool story. And again, pretty sciencey. So if any of that caught your fancy, but you want to find out more, computeramerica.com. Check out the show notes. Ralph has it all written down right there. So story number 1. Story number 2, we're going to go ahead and jump on down, and we're going to, I thought, Hyundai's getting into tanks. No, that's just from the picture. But yeah, it's, well, actually, no, they are getting into tanks. Yeah, this is hydrogen. And, we've talked on the show, Ralph, many times about, the different use cases of hydrogen, and it's making inroads. The infrastructure is getting there. It's an important technology for an energy, a green energy future. But yeah, this is, this one looks really cool.
Yeah, this is fascinating on so many levels. First of all, I had no idea that Hyundai was into military vehicles. They have a division. We're going to find out. Hyundai's futuristic hydrogen battle tank is fit for a video game. A great headline, right? This comes from a fun outlet called Cars Scoops, rather, CAR Scoops.com, Car Scoops. I'd never looked at this publication before, but when I saw this headline, I said, I've got to learn more. And I've got extra links, and we have a video also. You go deep into the video, about a minute or so into the video, you'll actually start seeing the tank in question, the prototype. And so here's the story. And I love this. The article opens by saying, no, the futuristic looking tank you're looking at isn't a prop from a Hollywood movie set, nor has it been lifted from a video game. This thing, if you're listening to us, folks, please come out to computeramerica.com. Get the show notes so you can see the picture of this tank. It's really kind of freaky looking thing. It's cool. Instead, Hyundai's vision for a next generation main battle tank, which will eventually use a complex hydrogen fuel cell powertrain. Wow, this could very well be the future of warfare, the author suggests. Now, he goes on to say, this isn't our first time seeing this intriguing tank concept. Officially dubbed the main battle tank, but also known as the K3, this concept tank was first unveiled 12 months ago at the Seoul International Aerospace and Design Exhibition. And since that time, it's been showcased by the division of Hyundai called Hyundai Rotem, R-O-T-E-M, Hyundai Rotem, the car maker's heavy industry company, which I had no idea existed, at several other events in Korea and Europe. They've been showcasing this concept. And visually, Ben, I'm sure you'll agree, visually, there's no mistaking this tank for any other. The exterior is clad in honeycomb-shaped panels, and it would look right at home in the game Halo, which I couldn't agree more. Yeah. It has slim LED headlights visible on the body of the tank, and there's an absolutely massive 130 millimeter smooth bore main gun. And get this, Ben, the body is made from molecular steel, ceramic, and composite armor, and is expected to hit the battlefield with autonomous driving functions. This has kind of got it all. And I'll inject a little a note of my own. As noted in the video, see the link in the show notes for that, and Ben's been showing it on the screen here. As noted in the video, the tank offers nearly silent operation due to its hydrogen engine, and it uses a lot of artificial intelligence technology in its electronics. Wow, I'm pretty amazing stuff, right, Ben? I love that picture you're showing.
Yeah, it's to, really integrate a lot of, modern technology, AI, and hydrogen, and I know it's for warfare, but at the same time, like, this thing is, I guess, kind of the culmination of a lot of the recent technology we've been hearing about. And I don't know, Ralph, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like a huge history, military buff or anything like that. I just know that, like, when a tank enters service, it's kind of like a Boeing plane. They're expected to last like 40 years. And you can imagine the technology difference of, like, a plane built in, 1980 and a plane built in 2020. Like, there's a pretty big difference. So I can imagine same thing with tanks, A tank built 30 years ago is going to be much different. And, a tank built today is going to be much better. I think one would hope, keep things safe and all that good stuff. But, like, Ralph, I kind of get the same feeling that I think for anyone out there who can, kind of look at the picture, hopefully they agree with me. It's kind of like the difference between like a concept car and then the production car. The concept car always looks so much sleeker, so much smoother. and then they're like, oh wait, we have to build this thing on a production line, and everything gets a little bit bulkier, everything gets a little bit more square, and but it looks super cool. No doubt.
It does.
No doubt.
It does look cool. So if nothing else, it's cool looking. But it may actually come to pass. And it's Hyundai suggests that the K3 tank could be completely unmanned and controlled exclusively by a remote operator. But current reports suggest it can also support a crew of three, so you could have either autonomous or human control. And it also can deploy drones, which could be quite handy in reconnaissance missions. Hyundai Rotem, again, the heavy equipment division of the company, says radar-absorbent paint has been used to help ensure the K3 avoids detection. And as compelling as the K3 concept tank is, here's the reality, it's still a long way off reaching reality. In fact, development isn't expected to be completed until 2030, and it may not be deployed by the Korean military until 2040. So it's in development. This is twinkle in the eye. This is concept, but I thought it was kind of curious and interesting, if nothing else, to look at. It's fun to see.
No, you have to prototype it and you have to get it, kind of out there, and you gotta get the first ones built, and then you can worry about, kind of building more. So, yep, this thing is not going to be, going off doing things tomorrow, but hey, this is the tank of tomorrow, essentially. They have to be designed now. Very cool stuff, and and just the fact that it employs drones and it employs
Right.
deploys, like, Ralph, I think a lot of technology that's already being kind of patched into military technology.
Yes.
This one's just going to be built in with it. So still very, very nice. But also kind of speaks to the tank, Ralph. That's like at its heart, though, the tank is still the same. Like, there's a lot of technology wrapping this thing, but technology
Still got treads.
Yeah, still got treads, still got ceramic armor. Like, it's still a tank. So very, very cool.
Yeah.
And hey, like you said, did not know that Hyundai out. Like I said, I got into a car accident recently, Ralph. A couple months ago. And that car was a Hyundai. And I'm not going to say that it could survive a tank shot, but if they build the tank to similar quality, good for them. It kept us safe.
Good.
So,
Good.
Good luck with that. So there you go. Story number 2. Story number 3. Let's go ahead and transition over to transistors. And,
Yes.
when it comes to semiconductor technology, Ralph, obviously there's, on the show, we've been following a lot of AMD and Intel, and their competition for transistors, and just making, this is about semiconductors, but, just making technology miniaturized and doing that kind of thing. And Ralph, in a lot of cases, we're kind of butting up against the laws of physics. You can only get a carbon molecule so small. You can only get these things manufactured on a molecular level so small. We're gonna need some real innovative breakthroughs to get our Moore's law intact. So hey, maybe MIT can step in and do something to help us.
Yeah, absolutely. This story comes from techradar.com. And a warning again, this is highly geeky, okay? Headline, MIT, of course, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, good old MIT. Headline, MIT researchers say nanoscale 3D transistors made from ultra-thin semiconductor materials promise more efficient electronics. Subhead here is quantum mechanics offers a path beyond silicon limits. Wow. I mean, if that's a geeky headline.
That's
right?
a bold
We've even
claim.
got quantum mechanics in here.
Even aside, that's a bold claim to get away from really the thing that we've built our society on the last 60 years.
And again, to reiterate, this is very geeky stuff. I don't even come close to pretending to fully understand, but I want everyone to understand, I believe this could be a very significant breakthrough for chip making. So here we go. MIT researchers have developed a nanoscale transistor that could potentially pave the way for electronics more efficient than silicon-based devices. Wow. Now, reminder, the term nanoscale refers to dimensions and tolerances in a range of 1 to 100 nanometers. And just to give you some perspective, 1 nanometer is 1 billionth with a B, 1 billionth of a meter. So this is the kind of scale we're talking about here, folks. And as we'll learn in this article, the MIT team has come up with something that has the potential to replace silicon for making chips, as I alluded to a moment ago. And here's the challenge the MIT team took on. Traditional silicon transistors, which we've known and loved now for decades, right? Critical in most electronic devices, face a physical constraint, Ben, to your point, face a physical constraint known as Boltzmann tyranny. Funny phrase, Boltzmann tyranny. That's Boltzmann tyranny, named after a scientist, you'll find out, which prevents them from operating below a certain voltage. So Boltzmann tyranny has to do with preventing this transistor from working below a certain voltage.
Don't say scientists aren't dramatic, Ralph.
Go ahead, Ben.
Don't say scientists aren't dramatic, calling it tyranny. that they can't run something at a fraction of a voltage.
Yeah.
They're like, this is tyranny. This is unfair. But okay,
Yes, unacceptable.
absolutely.
And my insert here is that you can dive deeper into the side notes I've embedded in the show notes, but in simpler terms, this Boltzmann tyranny business means that there's a minimum amount of energy needed to operate a transistor, which limits how much you can reduce power consumption in electronic devices. That's part of the problem here. And so, again, we have a lengthy side note here on Boltzmann tyranny. I was fascinated with this, named after a physicist named Ludwig Boltzmann. And you can learn all about that in the show notes. Geek out to your heart's content. But bottom line, this limitation restricts energy efficiency, especially as modern applications like artificial intelligence push for faster and more powerful computation. Okay, to address these limitations, the MIT team created a new three-dimensional transistor using ultra-thin semiconductor materials, including gallium antimonide and indium arsenide. And God forgive me, I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly or not. And if you want to learn more about gallium antimonide and indium arsenide, check out the show notes for more additional information. I have a full geek out section there for you. And the MIT team designed a nanoscale 3D transistor that leverages a quantum mechanical phenomenon known as quantum tunneling. Oh my gosh, Ben, this is so mind-bending. So I want to read that again. The MIT team designed a nanoscale 3D transistor that leverages a quantum mechanical phenomenon known as quantum tunneling, allowing electrons to travel through an energy barrier rather than over it. Folks, this is super geek. This structure, consisting of vertical nanowires just a few nanometers wide, allows these transistors to operate at much lower voltages while maintaining performance on par with state-of-the-art silicon transistors. And the lead author of the study noted, this is a technology with the potential to replace silicon. So you could use it with all the functions that silicon currently has, but with much better energy efficiency. By relying on tunneling transistors, the device achieves a sharp transition between off and on states with lower voltage, something silicon transistors cannot do as efficiently. Wow.
I say like I understand. I'm understanding the words he is saying in the sentence, how it happens and why it works that way and all that good stuff. Oh, completely beyond me. But
Me too.
I mean that efficiency though is, I think, another part of Moore's law that I think a lot of people kind of overlook, is that, Ralph, like, yeah, things get faster and they get better, and your graphics card gets a little bit faster, your processor gets a little bit faster, it can do more things at once, but that efficiency part is super important to kind of what leads to a new generation of technology. So
But yeah, Ben,
very
and
cool.
to your point, it's also that power consumption of the device in question. And that's part of what the MIT team are going after. They're saying this new 3D nanoscale transistor concept they've come up with can dramatically lower the power consumption, which is critical now in the world of AI, where we're building these gigantic data farms or
It's
huge facilities for all these massive computers to deal with AI, right?
Yeah, it's the reason why people are like, why can't my phone last more than 24 hours? Why can't my phone last more than 12 hours? You just heard all the science there of why it can't last more than 12 hours. It's a very complex issue, but they're working on it.
Yeah, they are. And going on here with the story, the transistors they've come up with, these 3D transistors, are engineered using quantum confinement. Okay, where electrons are controlled within a tiny space, enhancing their ability to tunnel through barriers. MIT's advanced facility called MIT.Nano allowed researchers to craft the precise 3D geometry necessary for this effect, creating vertical nanowire heterostructures with diameters as small as 6 nanometers, the tiniest 3D transistors reported to date. So we're talking about multiple things here: energy efficiency, scale, tiniest 3D transistors created to date, In the show notes, I added information about quantum confinement, extremely geeky stuff. It'll just melt your brain. You can go into the show notes and check that out. But the bottom line is a very interesting breakthrough and development offering potentially an alternative to good old silicon chips. So we'll see where this goes. This is twinkle in the eye stuff.
Yeah, and I always enjoy, and like this is kind of the point of universities, and they do this, such cool research. And of course, to say everyone is to the level of MIT, they get a lot of really good funding and a lot of really good professors and students. But still, Ralph, like, this isn't coming from the labs of TSMC. This isn't coming from the labs of Intel. This isn't coming from the labs of NVIDIA or AMD.
Good point.
This is happening in a university, and they've created the tiniest 3D transistor. This kind of research is going to be crucial for all these companies, but it's still happening in a university setting. So very good on them.
That's a great observation. That's really interesting. You'd almost think to yourself, gosh, why isn't this coming from NVIDIA or Intel or AMD or folks in Taiwan? What? No.
It always blows my mind to think that, it's like, NVIDIA is only worth $4 trillion. Why haven't they made this yet? And little old MIT here still breaking new barriers. But the research is always done best in a shared university setting. So there you go. Story number 3, very, very cool. And story number 4, we're going to go ahead and skip on over. Even today, and I'm not like 100% sure. Like, I think seizures, and Ralph, I was just watching. They had like the latest season of Arcane on Netflix, and before every episode, because it's a very colorful, artistic kind of style. Before every single episode, you sit down and it goes, flashing lights may cause seizures. Flashing lights may induce seizures, something like that. And so many things out there. It's like, I don't know. The programming isn't changing. Like, the seizure inducing things, I assume, because they put the warnings up there, the seizure inducing style is still going to stick around. But I guess people who have that issue are just going to have to be like, well, fingers crossed it's not the next scene, or fingers crossed it's just not going to happen in the next 30 seconds. So, hey, if media is not going to change, which, it probably shouldn't, flashing lights are cool. Then, hey, how do we help people with this disease? And just other than just saying, hey, don't watch everything else that we're watching. And story number 4 might be just that.
Yeah. So what we're talking about here, and by the way, if you're new to the show and our Friday segment, I like to end with a story about medical related technology and science advancements. And this fits that bill. This comes from New Atlas, a great outlet. Headline: liquid crystal glasses filter out epileptic-seizure-triggering light, which Ben was referring to with the flashing business and all that sort of thing. So people who suffer from this disease often have great restrictions on the things that they can watch on TV or movies and so forth because of this triggering effect. So we're going to get into this and explain this breakthrough, which is just wonderful, very uplifting. You want to be uplifted and left feeling good at the end of the show? This one will do it for you. So here we go. It's estimated that about 1 in 4,000 people have photosensitive epilepsy. And as the name suggests, their seizures are triggered by light, flashing, and alternating patterns, such as those in disco clubs, emergency vehicles, television, movies, and video games, can all be triggers if they have just the right mix of brightness, frequency, and wavelength. Wow.
Go ahead, Ben. And just real quick, I just kind of Googled it because I was like, how common is this? I know that you said 1 in about 4,000 people kind of have this, and it may be epilepsy in general, Ralph, but apparently it can kind of phase in and out of your life. Young kids can have it. Old, kind of as you age, you kind of can develop it as well. They said about 1 in 26 people will have epilepsy at some point in their life. So 1 in about 4,000 can have it at a time. But 1 in 26 can get it over the course of their life. So fairly common.
If this happens to you, God forbid, there's some hope here with these glasses these fellows have developed. We're going to explain that here. So here's the good news. People with photosensitive epilepsy could soon be able to watch TV without worry. and other experiences as well. Scientists in the United Kingdom have created glasses that can block out specific wavelengths of light known to cause these seizures. Scientists at the universities of Glasgow and Birmingham have developed a pair of glasses that could help reduce the risk. The lenses, are designed to block out almost all light with wavelengths between 660 and 720 nanometers, a region of red light that is implicated in the infamous Pokemon incident of 1997, which triggered seizures in hundreds of viewers. And in the show notes, I have a reference to that, or I have a link. You can learn all about what that Pokemon incident was in 1997. I happen to remember, and I'm old enough to remember all this kind of stuff. And
I remember that too.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I remember that too because I watched it. It was a lot of fun, but it was like the last time you could see it. And for anyone out there who's interested, and thank you for including a link to it, but you can also find the episode on YouTube if, hopefully you're not, epileptic. But yeah, you can even find it on YouTube and watch it for yourself. And I will say just, Ralph, that, it's so, as someone who does not have this, it seems so innocuous. It seems so like innocent, but like it's that one like little 5-second scene that caused hundreds of people to really have a bad day. So exactly, you never know.
Exactly right. And what going on with the story here, these lenses developed by the universities of Glasgow and Birmingham by their researchers contain liquid crystals that change their optical properties in response to heat. In this case, the frames of the glasses have a small circuit that heats the lenses up to 36.5 centigrade or 97.7 Fahrenheit, which causes them to reflect those particular wavelengths of red light that cause seizures. Oh, wow. The idea is that people could wear them out and about with normal vision most of the time, but could switch them on when they want to watch TV or play video games without worrying about having a seizure reaction. In its current form, the glasses can only work in environments of up to 26 degrees Celsius or 78.8 Fahrenheit. So this is something the team plans to continue working on. In addition, they want to reduce the time it takes to activate the glasses. When you touch the glasses to heat them up to create this environment that'll keep you from having those seizures. But what a cool development, and it's going to have profound benefit for millions of people all across the globe.
Very, very strange. Like, I don't know, heated glasses. That is actually very strange. And 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So I guess you'd have these lenses, Ralph, that sit within like an inch of your eyeballs at 98 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know. That's I don't know how comfortable that'd be. I don't know. It's
that part's a little bit kind of like, okay, maybe if it's real cold outside, that might feel great.
Yeah, a little bit of a sauna for your eyeballs, but
yes, there you go.
But hey, maybe the
still
pain
a great advancement. I think it's
absolutely
pretty cool.
Maybe the pain is worth the being able to see some of your favorite shows that you've had to avoid.
There it is.
So there you go. Story number 4, and ladies and gentlemen, looks like Ralph has kind of capped off the end. Usually it's honorable mentions, but this time it's honorable mentions. But they're STEM gifts this week. And Ralph, I'm glad that you did this kind of segment, and we're going to run through these real quick.
Yes.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, computeramerica.com, want to say that one more time, because if any of these toys or anything that we're about to talk about sound cool, you can of course go to the show notes, find them at the end, and Ralph has included links to all of them, and there you go. So let's Ralph, let's go ahead and run through the honorable mentions and just kind of talk real quick about what it is and the headline and who it's for.
There you go. Since it's Black Friday, it's time to start getting serious about holiday gifts, whatever holiday you're celebrating. But if you're looking for science, technology, engineering, and math-oriented gifts, we've got a few suggestions here. And come out to the show notes because it'll have the links and all that good stuff. First one's Klutz Lego Gearbots, ages 8 and up. $24.95, not too bad. There's a link in here that's really a cool thing. Kids can make these little robots. Very cool. The next one is National Geographic Amazing Chemistry Set. chemistry kit with 45 science experiments, including crystal growing and reactions, science kit for kids, STEM gift for boys and girls. This one is an Amazon exclusive, $39.99. The link is in the show notes. Check it out. This one's really pretty cool. And the next one, love the title of this one, Newton's Laws Engineering Kit. This one's $44.95. Sample link here. You go and look this up and check this out. The kids can learn about all these basic things about inertia, momentum, kinetic energy, and so forth, and potential energy. Wow, really a fun little thing. It almost looks like an erector set to me. I'm old school. I remember the erector set when I was a kid. And the last one here is actually a great roundup article, not a specific product. 30 best STEM toys for kids approved by experts and tested for kids in goodhousekeeping.com. So there's a link there. In the show notes, I'm showing one of the examples here, this Botley 2.0, a little robot toy. That one's $63, also available on Amazon. So again, if you're shopping for young folks in your family and you want to go STEM, these toys and these references could be a big help.
So, and I will throw one more in there just for everyone out there because, and all these are for, I would say like 8 years old, 10, 8 years old and under,
Right.
Very safe things. For anyone who's out there shopping for maybe like, a young teenager, kind of all of these are, kind of ages 14 and up, Ralph. But you can see here, these are puzzle boxes and, they start at like 13, 14. This one's like Tesla's box and Tesla's boat.
Cool.
They're puzzle boxes. Everything's included and it comes with its own tools and you have to kind of, figure out how to do it. It should take like, Ralph, I think they say about 3 hours to kind of get these things apart. But yeah, this is for like a younger teenager kind of thing. So
that's very cool.
Check out Puzzle Potato as well. Fun stuff. Okay. So
Cool.
Ralph, I think with that, I think we are just about done. And ladies and gentlemen out there, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to our special Black Friday episode. And Ralph, I want to thank you for putting this together. This was great. And the show notes will be up on the sites by the time that you hear this. So Ralph, until next time, thank you so much. And we will catch Ralph back with 4 new stories every single Friday. And everyone else out there, I want to thank you for listening and be sure to tune back in computeramerica.com or wherever podcasts are heard. You can hear our program. So with that being said, have a great day. Do something fun. Have a good Black Friday. We'll catch you here next time. Everyone, bye-bye.